Hello, I'm Manuela Heider de Jahnsen, Master of Science in Ayurveda and Trauma, and I'd like to welcome you to our brand new YouTube channel on all kinds of topics related to Ayurveda. So today, I'd like to introduce you into a topic that is very, very close to my heart, and it takes ages to remember all the different things that are included into a Pippali treatment that I'm going to explain right now. Normally I sit with my patients, today I'm sitting with you, and so I try to memorize through all these topics of Pippali related treatment procedures so that you can then easily recall and avoid any mistakes. Starting with the Pippali, it is normally announced as a detox treatment, and in classic Ayurveda we sincerely try to avoid the word detox. Because with a detox, we always would have to prove that there is first a toxin and then that we are eradicating the toxin. So in classic Ayurveda, we prefer the term ama, and the treatment of Pippali is then named as ama pachana, which means the removal of ama. Ama can be translated into very different things, but let's go back to the roots of how ama is produced in the body. So the first thing is that there is a misconception of what we put into our body, which is reducing our digestive fire named Agni. That means we do wrong food choices, we have wrong lifestyle according to our own abilities. That's important because some people can do more, some people can do less. And the other thing is that also our daily routine is maybe not in tune with ourselves. So finding out who you are and what your needs are, you either do a proper self-inquiry, or the best I would suggest is you find a proper therapist. To start now with the Pippali treatment, we have to go for the finest quality. So I have brought some of the Pippali that I sincerely love, and this has a very fragrant odor. It's like chocolate, a bit of chili. It is very soft, it is finely ground, and you can see it almost doesn't want to leave the spoon because it is so fine. The color is green. So whenever you buy Pippali or long pepper, be careful if you buy the dark quality, because the dark quality is heating up your system, something that we don't want. We want to create certain heat, but we don't want to burn down the hut. So if you find the dark quality, it is already ripened. That's not what we want. We want the unripe version, finely ground, and best is literally toxin free. There are several suppliers on the market. You find a link in the little note board under the pictures. So to then make the Pippali pliable for the procedure, you mix it with forest honey, and you end up with something really nice and sticky. It is important to use forest honey because forest honey contains certain enzymes that are then reacting with the certain qualities of the Pippali. That's different to using any kind of flower honey, because that's just sweet and we don't get the benefit from the Pippali fully. So that sounds easy so far, isn't it? So we need a fine scale. And then you have to start with 1 gram in the morning and 1 gram in the evening. You keep the mixture in your mouth as long as possible. That doesn't mean you walk around with for the whole day. It just means maybe 1 or 2 blinks with your eyelashes. That's the normal time you should spend with the Pippali in your mouth. It's important not to swallow it too fast, because you want all your receptors, all your saliva, all your juices really mixed with the Pippali. So you take 1 gram on day 1 in the morning and 1 gram on day 1 in the evening. On day 2, you take 2 gram in the morning and 2 gram in the evening. Day 3, 3, 3. Day 4, 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening. On day 5, you take 5 gram in the morning, and I'm serious, and 5 gram in the evening. And you continue the 5 gram for 5 days. After these 5 days with 5 grams in the morning and 5 grams in the evening, You then slowly move down these scales to 4 gram in the morning, 4 gram in the evening, 3 gram in the morning, 3 gram in the evening, 2 gram in the morning, 2 gram in the evening, and 1 gram in the morning, 1 gram in the evening. Then you have a relaxed resting day. So far, this is the procedure. But the procedure comes as a package. It's a package to also focus your mind and to reset your body in other matters. So the first thing is you have to have a certain nutrition. When we think of Agni as a digestive fire, then this fire should burn not too high and not just too slow. So it's important not to throw cold water onto that fire, and it is important not to just put too many things into that would fuel the fire and make it impossible for actually the work that the Pippali has to do. So the first thing for the nutrition is very simple. Just don't put anything into your body that is below or much hotter than your blood temperature. That's around 37 degrees. So if you want to have hot water in the morning and hot water during the day, make sure you don't have boiling hot water and let it cool down, because then it is normally again cold water. Just fill a thermos with something moderate temperature and then you can drink it during the day. Avoid anything that is raw. So to understand the digestive fire, it is important to understand the quality of food as well. So some food gets really sour when you heat it. And if I say don't have anything raw, and you think of then maybe you just boil some nice blueberries, then you would end up with something really sour. And this is a good example. Whenever you think of a certain fruit that you consider as sweet, for instance, raspberries, blueberries, and then you think of heating them up, apricots, peaches, you realize, oh my God, they're actually super sour. So avoid food that turns sour after heating, because then you put too much what we say pitta or high agni into your system and you would spoil the procedure totally. If you have fruit like this, a mango, we don't think about the climate situation now, but just to understand the concept, I just picked a mango now. So if you have a mango, the mango will remain sweet even after cooking. There's other fruit that you can just have. And so I just picked some dried figs and some mulberries. You can use raisins. They all remain sweet even after cooking. For any other vegetables, it's the same procedure. Just try to heat things that don't turn sour. Certain lettuces turn really super sour after heating. So you don't have to go all crazy and just use Indian spices all over. Don't. Because we are not living in this country, in India. We are living here. So we are also brought up here. And the amount of spices Indian families in India use is very different to the amount of spices we have been using. So be careful, be cautious, be sensible, be reasonable. So a very good idea to set up a food arrangement basically is using the Mediterranean diet. That means you can have, for instance, if you're not vegan or vegetarian, you can have a little bit of fish. You can have slightly steamed or boiled vegetable. You can use all the kitchen herbs that you love, like rosemary, thyme, basil. Just enjoy a fragrant, fresh-looking food, opposed to forcing yourself and maybe even your family in something that is just looking brownish. We have a lot of very good herbs in Ayurveda. Of course, they stem from tropical climate, and some of them we can use sparingly for water. So I love to add, for instance, a little bit of cardamom seeds that you probably know. You can roast them and crush them, or if you're lazy, you just throw them in the food. You can use a little bit of cinnamon bark, also very sparingly. You can use a little bit of shunti. This is dried ginger. It's very different to the fresh ginger. Then I also have here some coriander and some jeera, some cumin. It is here freshly ground as a garam masala. which is very nice for your digestion. But as I said, just be cautious. There's one thing that people forget when it comes to spices. So the average spice import is considered by the customs that a person takes about maybe a gram of turmeric a month. Now we see people going into Ayurveda and they are taking large amounts of turmeric every day as a golden milk. So the toxin relation that is actually coming from the herbs is not really registered properly yet. So be cautious, be sensible, be reasonable. Go with your Pippali first. For your diet, you can have, if you can digest it, some fresh ginger. I suggest to remove the peel for the Pippali treatment, because under the peel, again, there are more spicy oils that might heat up your system. Few people in the West really react with allergies towards ginger. So be cautious if you realize there's some hot flushes or you feel itchy, it might be the ginger, okay? As a general fat for all the cooking, of course, we suggest ghee. Ghee is ultra-refined butter where all the lactose and milk protein has been removed through sensible cooking. When me and my colleagues prepare ghee for our treatments, we normally prepare something which is called medicated ghee, and that takes about 5 hours to refine it. So the water is out, the protein is removed, and milk sugar is removed. And so you end up with a really clean product that is digestible for anyone. You can also choose some olive oil. Olive oil is a wonderful oil because it's rich in omega-3 fatty acids. It's quite balanced. The only problem is you have to understand the quality of oils in Ayurveda. So if you buy an olive oil that comes from Tuscany, for instance, the Tuscany olive oil can be quite acid, so you remain with a dry throat after just trying it. So the best is you check out your oils from your kitchen shelf and find out which one is kind of sweet and not dry and not acid. Okay? Some people suggest rapeseed oil. I'm against rapeseed oil because it's genetically modified and it has a high smoke point, but for our cleansing, we don't actually need a high smoke point. So be sensible and go more for steaming, which is safer. Now we come to milk and dairy products. So even Western scientists agree that this is the amount of milk that is, even for lactose intolerant people, easy to digest. That's about 100 milliliter of fresh milk. If you use milk, make sure that it's not homogenized milk or any kind of long shelf life milk. Go for the milk that's off as quickly as possible. The higher the fat in the milk, the less it has been converted into a product, means moving away from the original source. So go for the higher fat. If you can find buffalo milk or goat's milk, that is even better. To have your protein, you can use nuts, almonds, whatever suits you, unless you're allergic, of course. So for anybody, it is always suggestible to have hemp seed, for instance, chia seed. We don't actually need, we have hemp seed, which is locally grown. We can use sunflower seeds, we can use pumpkin seeds. So there's a big variety of seeds in our countries that are environmentally nice, correct, safe, and even good for the bees. So this is basically the introduction to the food. If you sometimes don't have the chance to cook, try still then not to have stored food. If you have prepared something in the morning for lunch, that might be okay, but then don't have it for 2 or 3 days. Because what happens to all stored food, even if you prepared it yourself, is that the histamine level, which we would consider as pitta, heating, is increasing because that's a natural process. So avoid reheating, avoid storing food, try to prepare. It's just 14 days, so I think you'll manage. Most people did it. One thing is super important when we come to beverages. I think you have seen this before, and everybody who knows me will now just giggle. Of course, no coffee. Coffee is to avoid in Ayurveda for any means, unless you really have a bad asthma attack. Then I think coffee is advisable as a first aid. But the general regular consumption of coffee is the consumption of a psychoactive drug that influences the tension in your muscle, that influences your oxygen needs, influences your speed of breathing, your heartbeat rate, and your fertility. So actually, why? So it's important during Pippali treatment, have no coffee. Of course, also, if you consider the Pippali as something you want to do or you need to do because you are facing either an autoimmune disease, you're facing allergies, you are seriously ill, or you just want to improve your digestion because you're suffering from certain indigestion, then avoid things that are generally considered to be harmful. And during the treatment for 2 weeks, it is that you avoid alcohol. Of course, you avoid smoking and drugs. And you just focus on what you want to do good for yourself, opposed to what feels good in the beginning and then turns sour in the end. There's also restrictions in movement, because when we look into the digestive fire, we look into relaxation. And relaxation is promoting the parasympathetic nervous activity. That means your digestion, your relaxation. So if you start exercising, then your blood moves away from the stomach into the muscles. That's not what we want. So don't exercise. And that's a rule. You can have a brisk walk, but the minute you start opening your mouth, then you're going over your capacity and you're no more in a relaxed mood. So that also includes sex, yoga, and all kind of other activities where you feel your mouth is opening because you are doing a strenuous workout. Some people experience constipation, have a little bit more water, and also have a little bit more patience. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you really liked it, click the I like it button, and I hope I see you again next week. Bye.